All right, I would like to call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona, be held September 17, 2019 at 6 p.m. City Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Althouse.
Here.
Councilmember Halls.
Here.
Councilmember Howdig is absent. Councilmember Matthews.
Here.
Councilmember Naren.
Here.
Vice Mayor Henry.
Here.
Mayor Linsky.
Here, thank you. Please stand and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is brief summary of current events by mayor, city council, and/or city manager. The public body does not propose, discuss, deliberate, or take legal action on any matter brought up during the summary unless the specific matter is properly noticed for legal action. Any council members have anything to report?
I just have one reminder.
Sure.
I think everybody knows this weekend is Thunder Valley Rally, but an event that isn't as highly published is Little Bikers, which is held on Thursday at 10 o'clock. And what we do is we go over to Cottonwood Community School, and we're also going over to Flip City to talk to the little kids about motorcycle safety and awareness. We hand out awesome coloring books that the city developed this year. We get pencils and keychains and other bumper stickers from Arizona Highways Safety Commission, I think. I didn't bring a pencil with me, I forget, that we give the children. And so anybody that's interested, you don't have to be on 2 or 3 wheels. You can be on 4 wheels. And come out and enjoy and talk to the children with us. So that's 10 o'clock on Thursday. And we leave from the American Legion at 10:15, but be there by 10, please.
Great. Good deal. Anything else? No? Just briefly, I am a member of the School Connect leadership team, which meets at Mingus Union High School. We have a couple other representatives from Cottonwood on that team. And we met today to talk about some of the needs up there at the high school. It's a great group of people. One of the things that's come up, they had a Hope closet, what they called a Hope closet, which was essentially what it is. It's a closet where they would put things in there that high school students might need. Anyway, that has since outgrown a small closet. It's turned into what they call a Hope room, I think. Anyway, much larger than a closet. So they have many needs, and they would like to ask the community if you'd like to donate anything from toiletries to school supplies. There are many students in need at Mingus Union High School, so please feel free to bag that stuff up and bring it down to the main office there. They would appreciate that. A couple events coming up that we won't be able to talk about in future meetings because we won't meet. Goodwill ribbon cutting, 8:45 a.m. Friday the 27th, moving into the new location. I'm assuming that's still happening?
Yes.
Yes, great. And then, of course, Verde River Day, the Saturday following. All-day event. We'll be reading the proclamation, I think, at 9 a.m. It's a fantastic event. It's been around since the 80s, late 80s. I would encourage everyone to attend. City Manager, do you have anything?
I do, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I also want to mention that while we're talking about schools, I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. King and get a tour of some of his, what I'm going to call special needs programs. He's got 3 or 4 of the different buildings dedicated to special needs. And going in there and watching the kids and the instructors and the teachers working with them, it was just amazing what they're doing on grants. There's not enough money in the general fund to go around, so they've reached out for grants, and their finance department's been creative in finding ways to pay for some of these needs so that the kids can get the help that they need to be successful in school and in our communities. And just a shout out to Dr. King and his programs he has going on over there. It's actually pretty impressive if you ever get the opportunity to get a tour of the facilities. I was touring with the vice president from the hospital of patient care, I think was her title, Laura, and it was just amazing. So thank you, Dr. King, if you're listening. And then something a little more fun, so Cottonwood Public Library is preparing for ARG, National Talk Like a Pirate Day. Is Ryan even in the audience? This event is being held this Thursday, September 19. The youth program will be held from 3 to 5, and it involves pirate crafts and using Mango language like Talk Like a Pirate, which apparently I can't do. Adults are invited to join in the treasure hunt adventure from 8:30 to 5 that day. Come bring your mateys. Arg. Sorry, I'm not very good at that. But it is Talk Like a Pirate Day this Thursday, so join the library to have a little fun. TVR, Thunder Valley Rally, is this Friday. Including Friday and Saturday, we have some great bands, some great entertainment. We also have, that's not on my list, is the Bootleggers Bash, which is in Old Town Saturday afternoon. What time? 10 to 5. So I want to give a shout out to the Bootleggers, locals, by locals, for locals. So come on down and enjoy some entertainment and food there. So thank you to them. And then the Cottonwood Public Library is starting their new hours on September 30th. So look on our website. We've expanded our hours and reduced staffing cost. So again, one of the departments doing more with less, which is becoming a motto. And so I want to thank them for their creativity and the staff buy-in that created the schedule. And so thank you to Ryan and Rudy and the team over there for making that happen.
Great, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have presentations. Just one presentation tonight. I'd like to thank the Vice Mayor for making this connection with JAIME Williams of Spectrum, who'll be presenting to us tonight. She's the Image and Communications Strategist from Spectrum Healthcare. She's going to present information on the services their organization offers. We were fortunate enough at a recent intergovernmental meeting, too, to get another presentation from Spectrum on the wide scope of services they offer in our community. It's really a great organization. We're lucky to have them. So I want to welcome Ms. Williams to make a presentation. Thank you.
I'm not sure how to get it up on there, or do we need to?
He'll help you right there.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, there's two.
Budget constraints, new bulbs are not in the budget. So I'll put it on next year's agenda.
Exactly.
It's got to be the slowest I've seen. Little retro feel, sorry about that.
That's okay. Is that,
It's fine.
is this as much as it will go?
Not normally.
Okay. Well, thank you, members of council and citizens of Cottonwood, for having Spectrum Healthcare here. My name's JAIME Williams, as Mayor Alinsky indicated, and this is a very brief, shortened version of a presentation that our Director of Nursing typically gives. So I've taken out a lot of the statistics and other outcome-based information in this presentation, but just wanted to do a brief overview of the services that we offer. So Spectrum Healthcare is a whole health care agency. Our mission is to provide whole health services across the lifespan, regardless of payer source. And if we move to the next screen, which you can't read, luckily I have it on my phone. There's a variety of, basically integration means that we believe that your head is attached to your body, and although healthcare for many, many years has separated your body from your behavioral health or from your mind, and things that may be going on there, we disagreed with that model and felt very strongly that we combine the two and provide healthcare for the entire self. So a list of the type of services that we offer would be things like primary care, psychiatry, counseling, nursing services, care management, a mobile crisis team, pain management, medication-assisted treatment, vocational rehabilitation, medication management, immunology, and lab services. And what makes us different is that we offer those services under the same roof. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. Oh, there we go, yay! And we do have currently 5 locations where we offer an integrated model. And we recently expanded, well, a little more than recently, but late 2017, we took over a practice in Prescott, and we are opening a second location. We're hoping January 2020. The whole health consultant is a position that we designed to assist from the primary care side as well as psychiatry. So if someone walks into our primary care facility, we have a whole health consultant that's there to provide screenings for individuals to determine what their needs might be on the behavioral health side. So it's kind of comes, it's a rounded out process for this individual to really look at. If you're walking in for, medical or physical needs, there may be something going on emotionally that we may be able to support. Also, on the psychiatry side, if someone is seeing our psychiatrist for medication management, that same whole health consultant will work with them to identify needs that may be going on the physical health side. So it just is a really well-rounded way to identify our own internal referral source and make sure that we're identifying needs that folks may have that they may not be thinking about. So these are just some statistics up here regarding the patients that have encountered our whole health consultant. So she's doing behavioral health screenings, reviewing for depression. Depression is the number 2 mental illness that we address at Spectrum Healthcare, so it's kind of a big deal. Telehealth solutions, so as you know, our area is very remote. We are considered a very rural area, so telehealth services are something that we incorporate in our practice. We're doing a lot of services via this method, including psychiatry appointments, pain management, intake assessments, primary care appointments. Those are for things that we can visually see over a screen. Obviously, if something's more concerning, we would need to see a patient, but counseling, including counseling as well as medication-assisted treatment. Our MAP program, which is something we've implemented over the last year, addresses the opioid addiction crisis. So telehealth, for those of you that don't know, is you see a provider over a screen, and we have a lot of providers that actually do not live in this area. We have a hard time getting people to want to move here and work here, so it's a challenge, I think, not just for Spectrum. So total patient care, obviously, we've served approximately over 7,000 unique individuals between 2017 and 2018. These are a little bit older stats. More since then. Of the population served, 16% live with a serious mental illness. So those are illnesses that are above and beyond. And depression can be considered a serious mental illness depending on how seriously it impacts somebody's daily living. But those are things that are more severe, like schizophrenia. And of the population served, 9% is involved in the justice system. So we do have a TIPS program that works with folks coming out of the jail system, as well as, we have a separate entity that works with folks coming out of the prison system, but we're really working diligently to acclimate them back into the community. Pediatrics is an additional service that we offer. We really take pride in the interdisciplinary focus that we utilize in our pediatrics. We have some kids with some serious mental illness, including co-occurring disorders. They may also have developmental disabilities. And so we are utilizing a team approach with those kiddos and really pulling everyone in the professional spectrum to sit down and have a conversation about what their individual needs are and how we might be able to support them. Those things include care management, therapy, family support, group therapy, other respite activities. We have a lot of behavioral health workers that we have had to work round the clock with kiddos to provide some respite for parents that desperately need it. So that's that. Our integrated pain management program, we are still actively providing this program. Our alternative treatments, including motion and movement classes, massage therapy, chiropractic care, and acupuncture, was funded by a grant, and it has been temporarily postponed. And we're hoping that those elements of this program will start up again in October. But it's been a widely successful program. Folks, again, this is trying to address pain without just first going to medications, obviously, to address it, and teaching folks other tools to be able to manage pain. Everybody wants to talk about the mobile crisis team. It's kind of a big deal, and we do a lot of work. So I assisted April back in 2016 when she started the conversation about how do we support our members of our community that are in crisis. I did work crisis personally for several years, working late hours in the ED and in the community. But basically what this mobile crisis team is, what we do is we partner with a local law enforcement when it's needed. Law enforcement does not need to be involved in situations that may require a response. But really the aim of this was to reduce folks with behavioral health issues ending up in the prison system and or in the jail system. And it's actually impacted pretty significantly getting folks to the services that they need rather than we're not sure what to do with them, let's put them in the jail just to keep them safe. Jail is, you know, that worked, sort of, but it cost the city a lot of money. And so this is, we've had some team member changes since this picture was taken, but that's April. Rhodes in the middle there, and a bunch of our team members, and then other law enforcement and fire department. And this is just the back of that. So really, this was April's baby. Her whole passion was really about being in a place where we can make a difference, and that was exactly what she really wanted to do. So I think we've done that. These are some statistics about the mobile crisis team outcome. We've averted over, and this is again from February, so we've gone several months. We've actually also launched a crisis mobile team in Prescott, and so we're live over there as well now, which is really exciting for us. Emergency department visits averted over 900, arrests avoided over 260. ED testing averted, 382. So what that means is that we've worked with the emergency department to not run the regular battery of testing that generally occurs in the emergency department, because again, that was costing our state access and Medicare a lot of money. And so we're knowing that we're coming into the ED just for a landing place. We don't need to run all those medical tests for individuals that are having a behavioral health crisis. So we've worked with them diligently on that, and we have recently partnered with BVMC to expand crisis services and landing places and things like that. So that'll be coming around the bend. So total estimated cost savings over $13 million, which is kind of a big deal. Yeah. And that's really just about it. So if anybody has questions, they can reach me or April, or Sunshine is our director of nursing. We can answer any questions about primary care or our behavioral health services, and we're happy to be here, and we're looking forward to doing more.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Williams from council?
I just had one, and first, thanks for the information, the presentation. It's great to know what you're doing here in our community. But you'd mentioned that depression is the #2 most common mental health issue that Spectrum encounters. What is the #1 most
Anxiety.
common? Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
And sometimes they kind of go hand in hand, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask, I usually try to be quiet during these, but what number, if someone needed help, didn't want to dial 911, is there a phone number that Spectrum has that somebody could just call?
Yes, and it's, the phone number works 24/7, and if our front desk does not answer the phone, it's routed to the Crisis Response Network, and they are the ones we contract with them to actually respond to emergencies as needed, but that number is 928-634-2236.
Thank you.
That's the same number you can call 8 to 5.
Very good. Thanks very much for your presentation.
welcome.
Appreciate all the work you do. Okay, next is call to the public. This portion of the agenda is set aside for the public to address the council regarding an item that is not listed on the agenda for discussion. However, the council cannot engage in discussion regarding any item that is not officially listed on the agenda for discussion and/or action, and comments are limited to a 5-minute time period. There's yellow forms like this in the back, folks, if you want to address the council during call to the public. And we have one form here filled out from Ms. Clauston. I believe you want to speak during an item that's on the agenda. Am I correct? Yes. Okay, then we'll call you up at that point. Is there anyone else in the audience tonight that would like to address the council? No? Okay. Then we'll close the floor, move on to approval of the minutes of the special meeting of August 29th, 2019, a regular meeting of September 3rd, 2019. I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion, Councilmember Holst seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Unfinished business, we just have one item tonight. It is the interview of the third applicant for an opening on the city's Parks and Recreation Commission. Ms. Wilbur.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you are aware, we have one opening on the Parks and Recreation Commission. You interviewed 2 out of the 3 applicants last week, and our third applicant is here this evening, Amber Baum, to interview with you. After you interview Ms. Baum tonight, the scores will be added to our blind review process that we've already started, and the top scoring candidate would then be brought back to a later council meeting to recommend that we appoint that person. So
Very good.
Ms. Baum is here. If
Okay.
you have any other questions, please let me know.
All right, and Mr. Matthews is going to remain seated up here, but he won't be participating in this as he was our council representative on the committee that appoints. The appointee, what's it called?
Blind review.
Blind review, thank you.
The blind review. Also, I forgot to mention before, Mr. Holst was not here to participate the last time too, so that might affect scores if he participates now and did not before.
Got it.
What about Howdy?
Right, Hodegie's not here.
But did he
He was-
participate? But he was last time, wasn't he?
He was the last time.
These are details we can sort out maybe.
We were, Mr. Mayor, we were just discussing that, so we'll adjust how it's appropriate versus cumulative versus average. So we'll work with the HR director to make sure that the scores are fair.
Okay. So you're staying? Okay, all right. Very good. With that, let's bring Ms. Baum up, please. Thanks for being here. Sorry you couldn't make it last time, but I'm pleased you're here today.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for letting me come today. I appreciate it.
You bet. I know you've been through this before, so you're probably familiar with the questions, but there's 3 very simple questions. We're going to ask them to you. As you know, we're not going to be making any decisions tonight.
Right.
So thank you. Okay, so first question is, please tell us why you wish to serve on the Parks and Recreation Commission.
I'm really passionate about Parks and Recreation. I've been attending a lot of the meetings as part of the riverfront development. In my day job, I'm a nurse practitioner, and so I spend a lot of time during my day talking about health and wellness. And I think a really vital part to being active and having good health is having a good Parks and Rec department to provide places to be active for families in our community. And so from like my personal perspective, I really like utilizing Parks and Rec. And so I think it's a good merging of like my personal and professional things going on that I have lots of good experience that would be beneficial to Parks and Rec.
Great. Okay. And then second question, what are your specific qualifications for the Parks and Recreation Commission?
So yeah, a little bit of before, like just my professional credentials. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner. I also have a lot of experience with grant writing and fundraising. When I've been going to the meetings for the riverfront development. The big thing is, right, this is great, where we're going to do all the things, everyone's very passionate, but then how in the world are we going to pay for it, right? There's no money in the budget, right? Ron said that. And so, like, where are we going to get the money, right? So it's got to come from somewhere else. So I've been not in like exactly the Parks and Rec, but like in my other, like in my professional job, like had to find money to make things happen, right? So like I have personal experience doing that. So I think that's going to be really important to having the Riverfront Development Project become a reality.
Okay. Great. And on that note, what do you hope to accomplish during your appointment?
I think helping that project move forward. I think it's amazing, the work that's been put into it, the renderings and everything that have been done. I think it'd be really a really big statement for the city of Cottonwood to be able to make that happen, and I would really like to be a part of making that come to fruition.
Okay. Okay, do you have any questions for us?
I don't think so.
You don't? Okay. Great. Thanks very much for
All right,
being
thank
in.
you.
Thank you. Okay, as Amber said, we're not going to make any decisions tonight. We'll bring these back with the final scores after staff figures out how to do that at our next regular meeting. So, thank you. All right, so next on the agenda is the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council, and they will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. We have 6 items tonight under consent, so I'll read them out loud. If there's any member of the public that would like to have an item pooled, please indicate so. And if there's any council member that would like to have an item pooled, please let me know. Item 1, agreement with the U.S. Geological Survey for joint funding for the costs of hydrologic data collection in the Middle Verde River watershed for federal fiscal year 2019-2020. Item 2, request to close Main Street in Old Town between Pima Street and Cactus Street, as well as the Gateway parking lot from 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. on November 9th, 2019 for the Walking on Main event. Item 3, agreement with the Mingus Mountain Wrestling Club to provide parking services for the Thunder Valley Rally event. Item 4, request from the city's Parks and Recreation Department to waive sections 9.12.030 alcoholic beverages and 8.52.020 camping on public property of the municipal code for the Thunder Valley Rally event at Riverfront Park, for closure of certain parking lots during the event, and for authority to charge for parking and camping. Item 5, special event liquor license application submitted by Raina Avalon, applicant for the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition, for an event scheduled for October 5th, 2019 at the Cottonwood Community Clubhouse located at 805 North Main Street. And last, item 6, Fair Festival liquor license application submitted by John McLaughlin, applicant for 21 Grams located at 918 North Main Street, Suite C, for the period September 23rd, 2019 to November 2nd, 2019. Anybody that would like to have an item pooled, please indicate so. Okay, otherwise I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion, Vice Mayor seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda is approved. We move into new business, and the following items are for council consideration, discussion, consideration, and possible legal action. Item 1, presentation, discussion, and award of fiscal year 2019-2020 outside community agency grant funding.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if I can interject, I actually, while he's setting up, I missed an announcement.
Sure.
So I hope I can announce this because I had asked our HR director to set this up, and I'm appreciative of her doing this, and then I didn't even announce it. But on Wednesday, September 25th, the American Red Cross is having a blood drive in the city of Cottonwood at the Public Safety Multipurpose Room, 199 South 6th Street, beginning at 8 to 1:30. You can call to schedule an appointment at 1-800-RED-CROSS. So if you are available and you can and want to, please join us for that blood drive.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Jeff Cook, the Contract and Purchasing Administrator for the City of Cottonwood. And tonight I will be presenting on the fiscal year 2020 outside agency funding program. Just a brief overview on tonight's presentation. I'll touch on Council's previous direction, the application and scoring criteria development, the proposals received, the review committee recommendations, and a summary of the programs funded by those recommendations. So during the 2019 budget process, staff was directed to create a competitive process for outside agencies to compete for funding from the city in future years. And this process was the result of that direction. It was an application process, and I included the application in the packet, but I'm going to focus on the scoring criteria because this is what the applicants were evaluated on. And I'm going to run down the list. The ability to document and state a community need was worth 15 points. That the funding requested was appropriate for the program, service, or project was weighted at 15 points. The applicant's ability to meet the stated need through the design of their service or program was also 15 points. And then a little heavier weight was allocated to their ability to align with one key focus area of the city's strategic plan. That was 25 points. And then their developmental efforts in identifying and selecting the proposed service project or program, 30 points. We advertise this through the normal channels, newspaper, Facebook, website. We also notified prior recipients of funding directly of a change in procedure for this year. As a result of these efforts, 14 applications were received. One was eventually withdrawn, leaving 13 applicants to score. The program budget was $100,000 for this program, and the total funding requested through those 13 remaining applications was just over $289,000. Review committee members scored these individually, and those scores were tallied to come up with the sheet that you see here. I know it's a little tough to read on this presentation, but the columns are the scoring criteria I just went through. And the total scores on the right rank the applicants from 1 through 13. After applicants were ranked 1 through 13, the review committee convened to discuss the funding recommendations that would go out to each agency. And I'm going to leave that up there and kind of refer to some notes on the ranks and funding summary of the programs here. Rank number 1 was Manzanita Outreach. The proposed program would solidify and expand food sharing and community involvement activities in Cottonwood through 222 food sharing events, resulting in 724,675 meals shared with Cottonwood residents. The funding requested was $9,706, and tonight's recommendation is $9,500. Rank number 2 is Steps to Recovery. The funding provided will provide scholarships for 30 men and women to participate in the initial week of the Project Empower program, which stands for Encourage, Motivate, and Provide Options Within Recovery. So 30 for the first week, and then 18 individuals would be provided scholarships to complete the entire first month of the program. The funding requested for this program was $10,500. Tonight's recommendation is $9,500. Rank number 3, Chain Reaction. This group provides low-cost, reliable transportation in the form of bicycles to those who don't have a vehicle. The funds are used for repairs on donated bicycles, and they also provide helmets to those, along with each bicycle they provide. Part of the proposal also would focus on targeting themselves for marketing and direct mailings to promote awareness that they're a tax credit eligible entity. $5,000 funding requested. Tonight's recommendation is $2,500. Rank number 4 was the Verde Valley Senior Center. The Meals on Wheels program, which we're all familiar with, is for the homebound senior citizens in the Verde Valley. This program provides seniors with 1/3 of the daily recommended intake of calories, protein, vitamins, and minerals 5 days per week throughout the year. Just under 40% of all the Meals on Wheels are delivered in the city of Cottonwood, and 60,000 meals are shared annually throughout the Verde Valley. $80,000 of funding was requested for this program. Tonight's recommendation is $45,000. Rank 5, the Old Town Mission. This funding will be used to operate the current programs offered, and it would also cover additional costs for an anticipated 10 to 15% increase in clientele over the next year. Just to name some, they provide basic needs for those who are at or below the poverty level on a fixed income, or those who are at high risk of becoming homeless. Operate the Operation Back to School program, Great Turkey Giveaway, and other events such as those. Rank number 6 is the Verde Valley Wine Consortium. The proposed program was to purchase an event trailer as well as increase financial support to Yavapai County's Emerging Winemakers Competition and Symposium, as well as continue funding to support the Verde Valley Wine Trail. Tonight's recommendation, $15,000 was requested. Tonight's recommendation is $8,500, which I don't think we're designating, but just for purposes of this, it would cover the event trailer and food concessions. Rank number 7 is the Old Town Association. The funding would be used for strategic marketing and promotion of Old Town events, business advocacy, and economic development. This funding would allow the OTA to produce advertising in markets recommended by the Office of Tourism. $15,000 of funding was requested, and tonight's recommendation is $5,000. And rank number 8 was the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition. The Homeless Coalition seeks to operate an expanded homeless drop-in center as well as the emergency cold overnight shelter. And this funding recommendation, based on the budget provided, would cover about half of the rent and utility expense. There was $20,000 requested, and tonight's recommendation is $10,000. And so with those recommendations, we meet the program budget of $100,000. And it allows the city to fund 8 of the 13 applicants, although not all of them are fully funding the programs that they presented. These recommendations provide a diverse and wide range of needs amongst the residents of the city of Cottonwood. And overall, I feel that the process was a success. It was very competitive, and the review committee was impressed with the quality of all the applications received. It was a very competitive process. That's the end of my presentation. I'll answer any questions from the council.
Does council have any questions for Mr. Cook?
I have a question. It may not be for Mr. Cook, it may be for Mr. Corbin. Do you recall how many agencies, is probably not the correct word, that we've funded last year?
I believe we funded 5 total. Was it 5?
Thank you.
We had 4.
There she is. I was looking for our finance director. 5 last year.
Mixing my years up with the Building Community Grant Program, I think we only funded 1 group with that last year, so 5.
5, okay.
At 85,000.
Right.
At 100, including Building Community Grants. No?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we added, you guys added, the council added another
Sorry.
15,000.
So based on that, I like this process. I'm glad that we went to more of the competitive process. I mean, we've gone from helping the same 5 organizations to now helping 8. Some are still the same, organizations, but new. I had never, I had heard of, but I didn't really know what Manzanita Outreach did. And so I went out and researched them. And I learned a lot. I think it's really nice that we did this. It's good for the community. It's a good process.
It's good. I'm glad to see that. Just one question. Like on typical grants, which we're kind of modeling this on, we have accountability procedures, or is there going to be some kind of accountability to make sure the money is being spent? And in the unfortunate circumstance that one of these outfits was not able to perform their stated need, is there any recourse on recovering that?
They're required to provide quarterly reporting and an annual report as well. That includes financial reporting. And then typically the way that the agreements are structured, we don't have those included, but the city pays those on a quarterly basis as well. So that keeps us from getting, as Mr. Horton likes to say, too far out in front of our skis.
That's a good way of putting it. Thanks.
I had a question about the Homeless Coalition. Was the application submitted under their prior building budget or their proposed new building moving forward?
I believe it was prior. It was before we've gone down this road.
So then does the
Correct.
grant applicant, does the process, and I didn't look at the application that closely, does it allow to, basically, it sounds as though their mission and objectives have changed. So does that automatically void the recommendation, or how do we proceed in light of their changed circumstances with the building?
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, if I can, their plan is to reopen, and so their goals and missions are still the same, and so their hope is to eventually need that money to rent a building, to pay utilities and those kinds of things. So, but clearly, Vice Mayor, you are correct. There's currently no location.
Do you have any idea on time frame for them reopening?
I met with them, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, I met with them today, and they have another meeting tomorrow for 2 locations. So they are, aggressive isn't the right word, but they are actively pursuing other options for their facilities, including asking the city to see what building we might be able to lend them for a little while, which we don't have one, but
Okay.
Great, thank you.
yes.
Well, I agree with Councilmember Althouse. I think this is And I'm pleased and I'm proud with our council that we, given all the other needs that we have, that we did carve out extra money this year to pump into this program. And I'm pleased that we tied it to our strategic plan too, and I can see that we have a broad and diverse group of people that have applied, and I think we've been able to fund a broad and diverse group of people too, which hits on a lot of the high notes of our strategic plan. So I think we'll see these organizations working on our behalf to make sure that we do better to achieve our directives. So thanks to council for that, and I just want to say thanks to staff too for reviewing all this and working with these organizations and getting the word out, because I think we've had a more robust program this year, which I'm hoping will be very successful.
Mr. Mayor and Council, to Jeff's point, if there's additional direction council wants to give, I think the assumption is we'll use a very similar contract form to what we've used in years past. But if there's additional accountability metrics or things that you'd like to see, we're obviously open to direction from you.
Mr. Mayor, let me just clarify, if there's caveats or, things you want to put in there, like you need to have a building before the first payment for that awardee, if there are things like that, this is at your pleasure. This is our recommendation, but this is your decision in the end.
If I recall, there were quarterly reports that were due, and
Yes.
I believe those are tied to, what's the progress report on your goals as stated in the application? Personally, I'm fine with that, as long as that quarterly report process is being met.
I would agree. I think the quarterly reporting is important. As long as we don't give the funding until we receive the report, I think that's great.
I agree.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay.
Entertain a motion?
Well, we do have one.
Is there?
Ms. Clausen, who filled out a form, would you like to address the council at this time? Again, comments are limited to a 5-minute time period. Thanks for being here.
I'm going to be short and sweet. Hello, I'm Brenda Clouston on behalf of the Old Town Association. I'm here to represent our 5-member board. The OTA is focused on furthering the city's branding, and everything we do points to that slogan that's behind you, the heart of Arizona wine country. We all know that everyone's working really hard to brand Cottonwood and put it on the map for our new slogan, the heart of Arizona wine country. And we are definitely focused like a bullseye on that branding. We are the Old Town, and Old Town is Cottonwood. We have worked very, very hard to promote and preserve the charm and integrity that is Old Town. And in a year and a half, we've accomplished very good success. We have come very far, and in order to keep momentum going, we need marketing funds to align with the city's goals of rebranding Cottonwood and keep tourists coming here rather than all the beautiful places nearby, Williams, Sedona, Grand Canyon, and so forth, Vegas. I respectfully submit to the council that we are unique and that we are the only entity on the list of potential recipients, all of which are so worthy, and many of which are my friends, that will give the city a return on your investment. Every dollar you give the OTA will return to you, the city, tenfold. That's something to think about. Your investment into the OTA will further your goals, the work that you're trying to do to promote Cottonwood. You have set out to achieve many goals to do all the work that you do. You've established a budget, and we are very aware of how important that budget is. And we want to help you with that as well. We take our funding, not only do we create marketing to promote the whole area, but we create our activities, like the Bootleggers Bash on Saturday. So we've got all of our perpetual heritage activities that we use that money for. And we're very, very strict about how they are audited, how the bookkeeping is overseen. And we've asked, as you know, I've been here before, asked a Christian with the chamber to oversee everything. Everything's real tight and in good order. So just as a reminder that the OTA is assisting you in the branding of Cottonwood. I know you're all working very hard on that. And just to reconsider that funding, because all of that money that we receive is then turned into a reinvestment for you and goes back to you. So that's just something to consider. So I respectfully ask that you consider increasing the OTA funding so that we can help you with your goals. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Glassman. Thank you. All right, council, any further discussion? Okay. All right, then I believe we're ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the following funding amounts for the fiscal year 2020 outside agency funding program, subject to the approval of the final form of agreements by the city attorney. $9,500 to Manzanita Outreach, $9,500 to Steps to Recovery, $2,500 to Chain Reaction, $45,000 to the Verde Valley Senior Center, $10,000 to the Old Town Mission, $8,500 to Verde Valley Wine Consortium, $5,000 to the Old Town Association, and $10,000 to the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition.
Second?
Okay, Councilmember Matthews made the motion, Councilmember Nairn seconded it. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Althouse?
Yes.
Councilmember Hulse?
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews?
Yes.
Councilmember Naren?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry?
Yes.
Mayor Alinsky?
Yes. Thank
Motion
you.
carried.
And I would like to remind folks who maybe applied but weren't accepted into the program this year that, of course, we'll be doing this again next year based on council's direction and how much funding we put into it. But also that council's taken I think, a bold step and opened up many of our meeting facilities to service-oriented nonprofits in the community. So it's another thing that we're trying to do to show support for the nonprofits, because we do realize that when we help you, you do in turn help the city, and a dollar invested in your organization comes back to us as well. So we have 3 meeting facilities. We have the Cottonwood Community Clubhouse right across the way here. We have the Recreation Center. We have the Riverfront Reclamation Facility down at Riverfront Park. So those are all available to nonprofits in the area if you're service-oriented, and the event that you hold there is free and open to the public. You're more than welcome to use those facilities 4 times a year. So, thank you. Okay. Next is item 2 under new business, resolution number 3025, approving an intergovernmental agreement with Yavapai County for funding of improvements to Ogden Ranch Road. Evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Robert Winnicky, Public Works Director and City Engineer. What I have for you tonight is consideration of a resolution to approve an IGA with the county to pave Ogden Ranch Road between State Route 260 and Old 279. This was a project that the county came to us in January and said we would like to go ahead and put some funding towards this project in the city. The road happens to be inside city limits, but the county's willing to go ahead and pave it for us. It serves as a kind of a bypass if 260 ever has to be shut down. We had the fatality last year on there that kind of messed things up a little bit just north of Western Drive. So this would help actually get an alternate route through town instead of having to go back out to I-17 and make your way around the really long route. So we have basically an agreement in which the county has $750,000 worth of funding. They're looking to go ahead and fund design, construction, and then turn the road over to us for maintenance, long-term maintenance basically. The road is in via an easement that we have with the Forest Service. So we've had a lot of coordination so far with the county, myself, the Forest Service, utility companies, ADOT, and there's a bunch of others going. So today we actually had a kickoff meeting with the design engineer that the county has selected for the project. So we are discussing roadway cross-section and trying to figure out how we can go ahead and make the money that we have stretch as far as we can to get a viable roadway. So what we're asking for tonight is that you consider this. This project was identified in 2016 Master Transportation Plan update that was done for the Verde Valley. So there was a need identified, and this would fulfill that need.
Great. Just as a little bit of background, Mr. Corbin, Supervisor Garrison, and I did meet with a couple of neighbors that had raised some concerns about this in the neighborhood, and I think by the end of the meeting they were at least satisfied with our reasoning on moving forward with this project. I think it's a great opportunity for Cottonwood to make some much-needed improvements for very little to $0.
A question,
Sure.
if I can. The packet and the IJ both say that this is at no cost to the city.
Yes.
At least for the improvements later, routine maintenance would be our responsibility.
That is correct, yes.
And we could build that into our budget. The IGA allows for the total amount of $750,000 that could be increased if needed by the Board of Supervisors. At your kickoff meeting and in your discussions, do you think that's a healthy enough amount to make sure that we can complete the road
That's a
and
very
all
fair question, yes.
improvements?
The 750,000 includes the design. Design was about 95,000, so we're looking at just a hair over 650,000 to go and do the roadway. We're looking at some different soil treatments that we can do on the existing material to actually amend that to improve the durability of it, because obviously your road's going to be as good as your base. So we want to make sure we have a good, rigid, durable base that we can build upon. Right now, we're looking at geotech report to go ahead and see what level of amendment that needs and how it will hold up over time. But the county has indicated that if it does go over, they are willing to go back to their board to get the additional funding to make this one work.
And I understand that just with an election year coming up, I'm
Sure.
concerned, and I'd like to make sure, I don't want to have any more unfinished road projects in
Understand.
Cottonwood. So
I would think that it'll be a stretch to make it in the $650,000, but I think it's the different alternatives we're looking at, it is doable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So to assuage the Vice Mayor's concerns, then is there a point where we're going to know before we start?
Yes.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
could say that,
So just to give you an update on the anticipated schedule, they have actually started design already on this. They did survey 2 weeks ago, and they were finishing up some infield shots yesterday. The geotech is going to start mobilizing to go ahead and get samples to actually do their soils analysis. That is anticipated to be completed in the middle of October. And have preliminary 60% plans probably 2 weeks after that. The anticipation is that 100% plans would be done middle of January timeframe. So well before then, we'll have a running cost estimate as to what the project's looking like cost total wise. That's 60%, 90%, and 100%. So we'll have all that information up front.
okay,
I have a question.
yes, please.
Is the county going to build this road to collector standard or residential standard?
We are looking at kind of a hybrid between the two at this point. So we're looking at making we're going to see what the geotech comes back with for a recommendation, but ideally we'd at least get a 20-year roadway out of this.
Okay.
So-
The concern I would have is I think that's going to become a collector and means it's going to have heavier traffic than
There is a chance. Right now, it's a
standard
fairly
residential.
low-volume roadway. I think there's about 740 vehicles per week, so you're looking at maybe 110 vehicles a day. So it's not a high-traffic count right now.
right now, but when it's
That
paved.
will definitely be the case. And also, we did talk about on the roadway cross-section that it would have 2 lanes, 1 lane either direction, and there would be room for a bike lane included. So that way we have that alternate mode of transportation included with this project.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, the bike lane is a real important addition for that area out there, of course, for our status as a biking community, but also to keep the lanes from being oversized to help reduce speed out there. It's a pretty straight shot. So both the engineers, county, and Robert here are working to engineer in, safety measures in addition, but we feel pretty comfortable that the commitment on the part of the county will come through.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments?
I think it's an exciting road. I didn't know it existed until Mr. Garrison started talking about it a couple years ago to me. And we went and drove it, and yeah, it would be great if it was paved. I think a lot more people would use it, especially the locals, because it's going to be the locals that are going to know about the road. The tourists aren't necessarily, nobody should tell them that they're not going to know, about this road. So I think it's a great thing. I'm really excited about it.
Good, okay. All right, we ready?
Push them to the Verde Village, they'll never find their way to Old Town.
Right.
You
All right,
ready?
yeah.
I move to approve resolution number 3025.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Althouse made the motion, Councilmember Holst seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Althouse.
Yes.
Councilmember Hulse.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Naren.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry.
Yes.
Mayor Alinsky.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, please read resolution number 3025 by title only.
Resolution number 3025, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Cottonwood, Yavapai County, Arizona, approving an intergovernmental agreement with Yavapai County for the reconstruction of Ogden Ranch Road. Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. Thanks to you.
Thank you.
And our thanks go out to the Board of Supervisors and Supervisor Garrison as well. Okay, up next, item 3, discussion and direction to staff regarding possible changes to the city's drought management plan, including but not limited to allowing misters to be used on outdoor commercial patios at certain times of the year, and extending the period during which other water conservation strategies must be employed. Evening.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. My name is Richard Faust, Economic Development Director for the City of Cottonwood. In your packet this evening is information specific to possible direction to staff regarding outdoor water use, including the use of outdoor misters and outdoor mister systems. Staff is basically seeking guidance and direction regarding outdoor water use. And in that circumstance, including the use of outdoor misters, pretty much specifically by the hospitality industry in Cottonwood. The staff was contacted by Mr. Kevin Grubb, General Manager of the Arizona Stronghold, and that was probably a couple months back, basically requesting that the ordinance, the drought and water shortage preparedness plan involving misters be either amended or possibly rescinded to help local business sustain levels of operation during summer months. And that was kind of the biggest area that was identified, is that when it gets so hot during the summer months, like Arizona Stronghold has an indoor seating capacity of around 20, and then they have an outdoor capacity of about 40. And during the summer months, that really gets tweaked back because of the intense heat. And so, therefore, that was part of the information, and you can see that in the attached letter from Arizona Stronghold and the General Manager of Stronghold. Additional businesses that added their voices recently with their concerns as well was Burning Tree Cellars, Merca and Osteria, Red Rooster, State Bar, T-Easy, Main Stage, Colt Grill, Iron Horse, Keto Loco, and The Muse. The economic development criteria for growing communities is tasked with reviewing business needs and desires in order to provide opportunities for business retention and expansion. Our goal through this strategy is to sustain and accentuate a vibrant and thriving community. And that's kind of where we stand as economic development, and that's kind of where the council has been in the past. So this is the reason why we're bringing it directly to the council for basically a discussion as well as some direction here. The updated technology I want to just kind of go over real briefly, and with it as it pertains to outdoor cooling systems or mister systems. The technology has advanced a lot over the years, especially within the last 5 years for outdoor mister systems within the industry. Those systems are basically what they call a microscopic coolant or fog control systems. They actually expend an awful lot of fog into the area, which actually cuts down the amount of water. And so those systems are pretty incredible. I basically wrote quite a bit about what they can actually do on dropping the temperature by anywhere from 15 to 30 degrees. It used to be the old misters would only basically, I think, drop temperatures by 15 degrees. So these are even more accentuated all the way through with the types of missile or fog nozzles instead of the mister nozzles. Also, for information tonight, I know that there's quite a few people here from the wine industry that can probably answer a lot of questions, but I know that we were also looking at possibilities that exist with the ordinance could be reviewed and amended involving restrictions to allow for mister systems during the specific heat of the summer months with specific use of current state-of-the-art systems. These high-tech systems minimize water use, plus are less prone to problematic circumstances, which we do see with a lot of the older industry, where they start dripping and a loss of a lot of water. So options could be reviewed, which could be also implemented by the city involving water use restrictions, which could also be employed as well, involving the actual ordinance itself. The ordinance could include new language to assist with management options involving water usage restrictions controls on year-round basis instead of the 5 months identified currently. And again, there's no cost to the city. And I just attached the drought management plan in there for your review. And again, there are individuals from the industry out here that could answer probably questions better than I could. Any questions?
Do we have any questions? Or we have Mr. Faust up? No? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just add one comment, is we'll be back with actual ordinance update at some point. But through the process, we were asked to, what can we do to improve our conservation plan in addition to lowering it, as some would see this? And the recommendation was to extend the level 1, is that the right phrase, or the basic level year-round versus just the summer. So it'll have a lot to do with watering restrictions during the day, and so it's kind of, we're going to add this and lower this would be our recommendation if approved by council.
Okay. All right, it's definitely one of those areas where our strategic goals are a bit in conflict. As this council's had a long history of trying to do everything we can for water conservation. This council really wants to do everything we can to support our local businesses, so there is a bit of a conflict. We find ourselves in the crux of that. Pleased to hear there's some super duper new misters out there, foggers, whatever you want to call them, that use less water. So anyway, it's discussion only tonight, so I'm curious to see what the rest of council feels about this.
Just a question then, to bring some perspective to it. There's a number in here, monthly calculations, 2,730 gallons. Is that one business or is that all of them combined?
That would be one business.
Okay, and what is the average household in the city of Cottonwood use for gallons a month?
Ooh, Tom, where's Tom? We need
In the back?
Our utility director?
I didn't really expect you to have that.
Thanks a lot. I'll pass the buck easily.
We can bring that number back if you really want that number. Yes.
Roughly 5,000 gallons a month.
5,000 gallons a month, and we're talking about half of that for a handful of businesses, which I don't think is horrible. We're building way more houses than that every year, so, thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I can add, you mentioned this number at another meeting not too long ago, and Tom can shake his head if I'm wrong, but we're pumping about 30% less water now than we were when we took over the water companies. So we're doing a very good job, this community, under your direction of conserving water.
Mayor Linsky raised a good point. These are two seemingly conflicting goals for council, but I don't see it that way. I think the misters are a great suggestion, and I also like what our city manager said. We can look at this globally, and we can give a little here with a little extra water, and we can also build in some other restrictions that might make more sense from a business development and tourism perspective. If I had the choice between sitting outside versus inside at an establishment, I always choose outside if it's bearable at all, and I think misters would go a long way toward encouraging more people to sit outside. So I'm all on board with this plan. I think it's a great idea, and I thank the businesses for bringing this. It wasn't on my radar, and it's a great suggestion, I think.
With that, just if I may add, I know that with the management plan for the ordinance, there are specific strategies that are identified in the plan itself that council can do. Council could actually even implement this program. I wouldn't want to say it, but it's one of those things where they could rescind at a later date if things were getting bad again. That's always something that's available to the council. And it's specifically identified in one area. One of the things that we specifically did was to identify other communities. We wanted to go out and find out, who else out there, basically, is there any restrictions from other communities? We contacted Sedona, Clarkdale, Campery, and Jerome. None of those provide any type of restrictions at all. So their businesses, if you go over there in summertime, it is one of those things that it's especially in Sedona, you can just watch it. It's just, constant on the side of the roadways for most of the hospitality industry.
I agree with Mayor Henry. I think this is an area where we can give and take, and I think it's a great idea. I remember, which is now Concho's, but used to be Nate's Cowboy Cafe. He put them up, and we all loved it, and then the city told him he had to take them down, and I had forgotten about that. I was talking to my husband about this, and he reminded me, and it's like, oh yeah, because they were really nice, and we like to sit outside there. So I think this is good, and I'd like to see it move forward.
So are we looking at any restrictions at all for being able to use the misters, for example, during water crisis and everything else?
Mr. Mayor, we talked about low volume, high conservation misters. So yes, there'll be something in there. And then the biggest is the extension of our conservation efforts to year-round.
So if I may, Mr. Mayor, the mechanics of this, as we discussed it, and we're trying to put this together for council in a way that made sense in light of the addition, we have the three resource levels, and level one happens always May through September, and then when a certain threshold is met for 5 consecutive days. What we envision is having that resource level one, proposing that to be year-round, and then moving the misters to a higher resource level. So obviously, if we're getting into more of a water emergency or water urgency, then misters would be disallowed for that period of time.
I see. Okay. That makes sense to me. Okay. Has everyone said their piece on this? Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like council is on board with moving forward with a draft ordinance that would be presented by staff for us to consider, correct? Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. And thanks to the business
Thank you.
community for bringing this to our attention, and please forgive me in advance if I maybe don't support it 100%. But we are a business-friendly council as a whole, and so we do take your thoughts and considerations very seriously, so thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council, very much.
Thank you. All right. So last item tonight is, for discussion, is discussion and possible approval of portion staffing changes within the utility department.
Evening again, Mayor and Council. I'm presenting to you tonight a recommended change to 2 positions. As you are aware, we've had numerous staffing changes since the beginning of this year. Most of them were either temporary or exploratory or changes within the budget authority we already had. So they are changes within positions that were already budgeted. So tonight, we want to talk about 2 that are not currently listed in the budget as approved positions, but yet won't cost additional money for the most part. First, we want to talk about the utility manager position. So in about February, Tom Whitmer was placed over the utility department. So he does his water resources administrator job and is also taking on utility director role, a utility director role. So the utility director that we had was put in an interim utility manager position where he still is today. So the paired leadership between Tom and the previous director so far has been a great move for us. Things are more efficient and effective under this new pairing. So the support that that department needs is now there under this change that we've made temporarily so far. So we're looking to make that change permanent, and we don't technically have a utility manager position in the budget, so we don't have budget authority to make that change permanent without council approving that. So this change would actually have no financial impact on us now. The recommendation is that we would put this position in as a range 27, as opposed to a range 30 that this person was already in. And that salary is within the current, or within the new proposed range of 27. You wouldn't be paying someone at a salary that's above the range that's allotted for that position. So then the second position that we're looking at is the lead electrician position. So we currently have an electrician and an electrical technician. The electrician that we have on staff has skills and abilities that have allowed us to really expand what we've been able to do in-house. So we've been able to contract out work less with him. We've been able to use his skills in other departments rather than solely in utilities where he's stationed out of. One of the benefits of changing the electrician position to the lead electrician position as well would be giving him a supervisory role over the electrical technician that we have currently. So now our structure is the electrician and the electrical technician report to the utility supervisor. So he has two people reporting to him. And if we made this the lead electrician, the workflow would just be much more smooth because you'd have the one person in the electrical division who can basically route work. So this change would definitely be a benefit to the city because we would, again, be a little more effective and efficient in what we're doing. And we would recommend, as this would be a promotion, it would be some more money. However, we have some open vacancies in our wastewater department that would make up for that already. So it would only be an additional about $5,000 to this employee to change the position. However, we've already saved through September 1st, $5,000 in the salary savings from the wastewater position that's not filled. So staff is recommending that we make these two changes permanent. And I'm open to any questions that you have of me.
Council, do you have any questions for Andrew?
No questions, but I was really excited to read this, and I've already heard about Chris Norwood, and he's already kind of a minor legend within the different departments, and seems to really be taking the initiative and showing leadership skills. And I mean, I'm convinced this is a good plan. I think any increase in salary, we're going to recoup probably more than $1 for $1 as far as that goes. It really looks like it. So I think this is great. I love seeing this. I think it's really thinking outside the box and trying to use our resources much better. So I love it. I appreciate it.
Anything else from council? Anything from the manager? No?
No, you have to learn to when to be quiet when you're ahead.
Okay. No, I mean, it's laid out well in the information we have in front of us. Seems to me to make a whole lot of sense.
Make a motion.
Right, yes.
I move to approve the utility department position changes as proposed by staff.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Holtz made the motion, Councilmember Matthews seconded it. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Althouse?
Yes.
Councilmember Hulse?
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews?
Yes.
Councilmember Naren?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry?
Yes.
Mayor Linsky?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, very good. I move we pay the claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.